Welcome to the Testimony Tribe.
All right, guys, welcome back to episode 5 of the Testimony Tribe.
So that's hard to believe.
It really is.
I know.
That is wild.
Time is flying.
We've done a lot of talking.
They've done a lot of listening.
I know. None of our episodes have been short. We're like, they'll be like 30 to 45 minutes, and I don't think we've had one under an hour.
That was the original plan.
If you stay for the whole hour, I'm proud of you.
You know, I've asked around too and asked people, like, do you want it shorter? And a lot of them have said no.
Yeah.
They were like, no, we love it. Like, the conversations and the you know, just the layout. So we're not going to do much changing, I don't guess. We'll just go with how it goes.
It's just so fun to just talk for
Oh,
a
yeah.
long time.
There's just so many nuggets in all of them
Yeah.
that I'm
For sure.
like, man, which one was that in? I need to go back and find that and
My
and
cousin
write it
texted me,
down.
She was like, "You don't like turkey or gravy?" And I was like, "No." So we got
A lot
a
of secrets. Well, we got a comment. We got a comment on the YouTube video, and they were like, dressing is what you eat with the turkey. Stuffing goes inside. We
That's
just
so
talked about
funny.
this on Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah.
That is so
Oh, yeah.
funny.
And then we got another a comment. Thank you to y'all that are commenting. It's so
Yes, we
cool to
love
see
it.
the interaction. And we had one on our first episode, so Meet the Tribe episode number
Mhm.
1, and it was from Struggling Mama, and she just said that she was really thankful that there was a podcast that she found that had a straight, direct direction and stand, and that she was really enjoying and getting a lot of help
That's
from it. So
awesome.
that was pretty awesome.
So encouraging.
As of right now, we have, I don't know,
Several lined up.
we're
We have a calendar
on up into
full.
February.
Yeah.
February or March, right?
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so we got more to come. You guys just hang in there with us. Like,
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Yeah. So our episode today has a little bit to do with Christmas. And so, of course, we had to start off with something fun. I have a game for y'all. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I'm
Yes.
excited.
Okay, so our episode today is about an event called Shop with a Hero. We're going to get into the logistics of that in just a little bit. But I want you guys to pretend that you are going shopping with a hero. So you get 10 seconds.
My goodness.
10. Okay. 10 seconds to name as many items as possible that you would put in your cart if you were the one going to shop with a hero.
At our current age or as a kid?
Let's do as a kid.
Okay.
Let's do as a kid.
Oh,
Man.
Well, how about let's do this? We'll do as a kid and
Oh,
then we'll do
goodness.
right now.
you go first.
Okay.
No, that's
10 seconds.
As a kid, what would
Okay.
you put in your cart? Ready, set, go.
Disney VHS tapes. A Lion King stuffy. Tigger, because I loved him, and they called me that because I bounced around all the time.
You're done. That's all you get.
Wow.
Some VHS.
You can do
tape.
better.
You can do better.
Do better.
Okay.
Okay, you
I was
ready?
about to say like a Red Ryder BB gun and maybe a big Bowie knife because I
No,
was
you're
getting
10. You're 10's up.
Oh, sorry.
You're done. You're shopping.
Maybe
cart's
you
full.
can put that in your cart as an adult. Okay, ready now?
Yeah.
As a kid, ready? Go.
Okay. A baby doll stroller, a diaper bag, wipes, a baby bottle, a pacifier,
Half of that comes together.
Little of the Prairie, Little House on the Prairie DVDs.
Yep, you're done.
Oh, anything baby
Wait,
doll.
wipes?
I love.
They have baby doll wipes?
Yeah. Like, no, I would have bought like real wipes for my baby doll.
Oh.
You know.
Half of those come
Okay.
together though.
No, you have
I
to
like
like
it.
buy the
Oh.
stuff.
Well, back in the day, probably. Yeah.
They might have.
Yeah,
But I was
Mm.
all about baby dolls until I was like way too old.
I like it. I like it a lot.
That was fun. That was hard.
Okay, now as an adult,
Oh, I got this.
God.
I want to know, are you ready?
I'm really excited about what I bought myself for Christmas this year, and I've already
You
done
bought
it.
yourself.
It's coming Friday, and I'm
What
excited.
do you get? Okay, you go first. I want to know.
You want me to do this first, or tell you that first?
Well, it would be
You're
in the
gonna
cart.
love this. Like it's up
It's
your
in
alley.
your cart?
Oh,
Okay.
it's already.
You
it's
already
not that
purchased
I've
it.
already purchased it. It's on. It's about
All
coming to
right,
my
so you
porch.
just add that to your like.
List.
You'll say that on your list.
Okay,
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
As an adult, what would you put in your cart?
A Martin D41 guitar. New monitor. I don't.
What did you buy?
Oh,
I was like, you bought a new guitar?
no.
You're like, you'll love this. I'm like, I wouldn't know what to do with the guitar.
Can you
That's
imagine?
not what
you
I-
were supposed.
I was gonna save it for last, but then I started stressing out about the
Yeah,
other things.
because
I wanted to
you're
go with it.
done. Your cart is
I'm
full.
full.
You didn't even get the thing that you bought.
No, I'll tell you that now.
Okay.
So it's a digital calendar and home planner.
Wow.
Like the
wall.
desk.
No,
Oh,
it's a
the
big. It's a
wall one.
21.5 inch.
Wow.
Meal
Right.
preps, chore lists.
I
It
am
syncs
jealous.
with Google, Outlook, Yahoo.
Your tour list and everything's gonna be on
Oh
there?
yeah, girl. The kids' chore list. Like it has the ability for
I
me to
thought you
give them
said tour. You
Well,
said
that too.
chore.
both.
Chore. Okay,
It'll
got
have
it.
it all.
It'll have everything because it'll link to everything.
Wow.
And then Dom can link to it, so we can both see where we are.
That's pretty incredible.
I can take a picture of a invitation, and it will take the details from the picture and put it into my calendar.
Dude.
Maybe so we're gonna
I'm so excited. My life. I'm growing up. I'm
I'm growing
up.
up. I
I'm
love
finally leaving the baby stage and going to be an
it.
adult.
Not me.
Me and Brent have a shared calendar.
Is
Like
it
our iPhones, everything that goes in the calendar, he gets a notification. And when I put something in the
See,
calendar, he
that's
gets
cool.
a notification.
I have two
I
different
told you
ones.
that'd be her.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Well, see, because I had the big board in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And Bristol keeps erasing it.
That checks out.
So, like, everything that we have that's, like,
Yeah.
tasks and
It's only just a
Upcoming,
few letters.
but all-
Wash.
yeah.
And then it's like clothes.
Yeah.
Or
But all of
color,
my,
or what do we
which was really tall. Like, it was up at the top of the fridge.
She managed.
But what's funny is it's not the whole thing. It's just the bottom. She just erases the bottom half. So all my, like, quotes and Bible verses and all the things that I wanted to remember that everybody could read on our home board is gone.
That's so funny.
well, you know what to
So,
get her for Christmas.
we're updating.
Get her.
She
her
can just
own
have that
whiteboard.
one. Yeah,
She can
just have that one.
She could have that one now. All right. Now you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's really good
Ready?
at this.
Set. Go.
I would want a red light mask. I want a sauna. I want a cold plunge, a vibration plate, and workout clothes.
I thought you already had all those things.
No, I don't. I
She
don't.
doesn't have a sauna or a red flat mask.
Or in the vibration plate, I
She
just
posted about
started.
doing red light.
Well,
Well,
she
they
goes
have
in-
it at the Y.
Yeah.
But only the one in Easley. I want one for my home. I want the little face mask.
I like it. I like it.
So I need better hobbies. More things.
I'm crying.
More things. All right, Mackenzie, we want to know 10 seconds. As a child,
Yeah,
what would you have put in your cart?
You have to do it.
Ready?
Okay.
Go.
High School Musical, everything. That's really all I can say. Snacks, fudge rounds. I loved fudge rounds as a kid. I don't know what else.
You're done.
Fudge rounds in High School Musical, everything.
Yeah.
You would have been easy to please.
How did you?
Yeah, I am pretty easy to please. I'm easy to
Okay,
buy
but
for.
if your answer as an adult is fudge rounds,
No, I don't eat those anymore.
okay.
I probably ate them so much as a kid that I'm like very burnt out.
All right, are you ready?
No,
As
absolutely
an
not.
adult,
Wait, no. Okay.
ready?
No, you don't get time to think.
Okay. I was trying to think what I put on my Christmas list this year.
Okay,
Okay.
go.
Booty Girl bracelet, Kendra Scott necklace, a planner, probably some trucker hats, some headbands. I don't really know. What else.
First
Okay,
of
what
all,
is
I
a-
got distracted
what-
because I need to know some of those things are. And
A
Danae's
band-
already at 10.
A Booty Girl. Y'all never heard of Booty Girl bracelets?
No.
I'm getting some for Christmas.
What
What
are
are
they?
they?
They're just like a brand of bracelet, like bangles.
Are
like
they
those
the
things.
bangles with the
They
hair
come in-
bows?
No, these are teleties.
Oh, okay.
Wait, the bangles with the hair bows.
Yeah, I've just seen some, like, they're really fancy, dressy up bracelets, but they're hair bows.
No. Okay, no. These are like actual bracelets.
I
Yeah.
need a picture of these later.
So they're like in a pack of like 6, I think. And then you can wear like all 6, or you can break them apart, or you can do 3 and 3. I'm starting to get, like you said, I'm being an adult earlier or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get more like in my girlier phase. I was more
Ah.
calm. Yeah, young professional. I like it. I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to really dress
Yeah.
up with the jewelry, accessorized. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say. Yeah, I've never been like an accessory girly. And my mother-in-law yells at me all the time about it. She's like, "You need a necklace with that." And I'm like, "No, I'm good."
No, I'm good. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I get that.
But I'm
I
trying
mean-
to,
I get that.
yeah. But
You do accessorize, though, because you always have the
Trying to.
cute headbands
Yeah,
and the earrings.
I would have
and the...
never thought you weren't an accessory.
No.
that's because I'm coming into it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
The new you.
I'm growing up.
Gotcha.
The new you.
Today is episode 5, when podcast tribe grows up. Except for Danae. She's been grown for a while. She's got her life together.
I've been an adult since like I was 9 years old.
Please title it "I'm a Big Kid Now."
I'm a big kid now.
That's so funny.
We
Okay.
say that, and we're going to talk about this episode, and all of us are going to be crying like babies. So we can't even
Well,
talk about being big kids.
that's
'cause
accurate.
We're always
So
just kinda
accurate.
like, okay.
Yeah. It's hard to come down off the
I know.
hype
Yeah.
of this event.
Well, we've been talking about this event, and I've already kind of mentioned it, but today's episode, we have 3 guests, and they are telling us about this event, Shop with a Hero. So, Danae, why don't you give us a little background on Shop with a Hero and
Okay.
how we kind of got involved? And then, Caitlin, you can tell us about our guest and kind of their involvement.
Sure.
So, Shop with a Hero is an event that Pickens County puts on. And the way it works is there is a lady, Regina, that has this organization called Fostering Love. And she is kind of the brains behind the operation. And her and Chief actually grew up in very similar towns, and they had something like this called Shop with a Cop.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of connected and found that they wanted to do something like this for our county. And so they take children that are in different walks of life, and a lot of them are maybe underprivileged or need a little assistance, and they they give them $200. They send them to Walmart and let them buy Christmas. But the cool part of it is they pair them with a local hero.
Okay.
And so they pair them up and send them, they do a huge parade with all the lights. So you'll have about 75 ish police officers, and they'll load up their cars
Or
and
firemen.
and first responders and all. I mean, you will have everybody represented, and they line up, they load the kids up, they turn the sirens and the lights, and they're all on the little walkie talkies, like kid voices in the like, here I come, Walmart, like,
Yeah.
you know, like they're
So
so
sweet.
excited, and they load them up. They do this big parade into town, and then they get to go shop. And so how we got involved is right after Helene, our church had really been super active and involved with disaster relief.
Yeah.
When I say super, like our church become one of the hubs here for intake because we had the facilities to manage it. And so we become very much a central hub for a lot of places to bring donations.
Almost like a warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'd hold them, and then we'd take them up to North Carolina.
And we would do these, we would go up on Saturdays and we would feed, we would pass out clothes, we would find the needs and connect and make connections. And so, anyways, after that kind of settled down, there was still much this desire to serve in some way. And we saw that there was a need in our back door, whereas before our disaster relief efforts had usually been abroad and out of our backyard, but this was very much in our backyard, and it allowed a lot of our locals to get involved.
Yeah.
And I think that is where it kind of stemmed from, is there was a lot of people that like, hey, there's still needs here, because that was in the winter, like closer in the Thanksgiving months. And so Christmas was coming, and we knew there were still a lot of needs, and we're like, how can we get involved? And so I went to Scott Tickner. He's a man in our church, and he's one of the ones we interviewed. And I said, Brother Scott, where do we find the kids? Like, how do we find these people? And Scott said, I think I know someone that you need to talk to. And so he set up the meeting with Chief Beach. And I remember going into the office to talk to the chief of police here. And he was like, I've been looking for a force multiplier. That's what he called it. And he said, I think that we can do the shopping really well. But there's this section of outreach that we've never really been able to do well. And he was like, maybe your church could step in and help facilitate this area. And that area was when the children go, the parents are left, and there was a need to love on those parents and find the needs that they had. And a lot of those are food, and just different ways of just letting them know that there's someone there for them.
That cares.
And 100%. And so that's the part that, and literally maybe 3 or 4 weeks before the event, we came in, and last year was our first year. We come in, and man, we just had the best time. And it just to stand back and be like, how the Lord put all of that together so quickly.
Yeah.
And so they immediately told us that they would love for us to do it again. And so the doors opened for Mount Sinai to just partner with them and just make this bigger and better. And so every year we've tried to make it more special for the areas that we can. And everybody has worked so well together at fulfilling their jobs. And so, the kids love being with the heroes, and we love to support that, but that's not really the part that we touch. We just kind of get to reap the benefits of seeing that. A lot of our ministry here is with the families,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of how it come to be. And the Lord truly just orchestrated the whole thing to put it together, and so they were really receptive to us helping. And the families have been very receptive to us as a church stepping in and loving on them.
Danae kind of spearheaded and got the connections for us to be able to be a part, which
Absolutely.
is huge. God opened the door.
Yeah.
God orchestrated. He worked it all out. And so it's an honor to have the opportunity to love on people in that capacity. But then to see each year now, 2 years now, there's just so many things that happen that he did that,
yeah.
Absolutely.
We could at least tell about the chicken.
The chicken and the lady that got saved.
Oh, yeah. So we had a lady. So we do a check-in process where they come in and they check in. And if y'all know me, y'all know I'm terrible at remembering people. And she come in and she says, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And truly, I did kind of recognize, but there's so many stories.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
remember
There's
which
so many,
story,
yeah.
but I definitely recognized her. And she was like, "I was here last year." And she was like, "After I left, I decided that I was going to start going back to church." And she said, "I found a church near my house." And she said, "And I started going." And she said, "And I asked Jesus to save me 2 weeks ago." And she was so excited to come in
Yeah.
and tell us that she had accepted Christ. And it was a combined effort of just all these people probably in her life that have loved on her and showed her the importance of getting there. And so now that family is in church, her babies are in church,
Yeah.
and she could not wait to get back. And I thought, because it made a difference.
Yeah.
Like something it was a little conversation someone had at the table with her, like made a difference to make her feel like she could go back into a church, and to hear that she accepted the Lord was amazing.
And I thought about that because just in recent conversation with different people, I heard the statement, have we seen any fruit from our labor?
Right.
Have we seen anybody come back from this event that we tried to do, or this ministry we tried to do, or this or that? And I think sometimes we get narrow visioned on, if we do this event, are these people going to come back and sit in the pews of our church? And it doesn't always happen like that.
No.
But the Lord, and we'll probably not even know until we get to heaven the full impact. But sometimes the Lord lets them come back, and yeah, she might not have come to our church,
No.
but the Lord used that as a bounce board, as a diving board to get her to a place where he could reach that heart. And so just a encouragement to you, a listener maybe out there, that you're saying, I'm working, I'm laboring in this fight for the Christ. I'm trying to give, is it worth my time? Is it worth my energy, my effort to do these ministries that I'm involved in?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. It is worth it all, because you don't know who's reaping what you're sowing. You sow, you keep throwing out that seed, you keep giving him what you can give him to the best of your ability, loving each moment with your church family or whoever you're working with in those ministries. But I just wanted to encourage somebody out there, keep on keeping on, because I think that was huge for me in that story. It didn't happen in our altar, but it happened on God's altar.
right.
And that's what counts. And pray that we don't get to the place in our mindset that it has to be a fruit bared on our vine,
Right.
but just that at least let it be on God's vine.
Yeah.
That's good.
But then tell about the chicken.
When the children leave, we cater a meal to the families. And so I get a rough estimate of how many people. And so me and another lady in my church, actually there was like 4 of us, all like calculating how much we should order. And so we all agreed we would do 3 chicken fingers a person, like they're big chicken fingers. We thought that would be a good many, and we rounded up and all the things. So anyways, I called, I placed my order, and I think I was supposed to have like 900 chicken
Mhm.
fingers, okay? And so which is a lot, but we were serving a lot we were
Yeah,
serving a
I just
lot
know
of
what you're
people.
gonna say, and that's why I'm laughing,
So
'cause
we pull up, the guy that picked the chicken up, he has a Tesla. He's opened his front trunk and his back trunk, and chicken is everywhere.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is a lot of chicken, but like, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just the way it's packaged. Like, I'm just like, whatever. There's
They
so
left
much
a lot
going
of
on.
space in the box.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're putting this chicken out.
To put it in perspective, we did the kitchen remodel at the church. We have a very large kitchen. We have two stack
Yeah, we had
ovens, one regular oven. We had
warmer.
those full. The warmer
Full
had
of chicken.
chicken.
There
The
was chicken on the
counters-
bar.
And they're like this, like they're
The
this
chicken's
big.
huge.
Like,
Yeah, but I'm
Big
saying
chicken
like
dinner.
But the
every
amount of
counter in the
boxes.
chicken in the
Yeah. There was
kitchen
I
chicken
know.
boxes
everywhere except for on the drink counter. Like everything else was covered in
There
a
was
green box
chicken
of chicken.
everywhere.
There was no chicken left 1,000 miles of Pickens County.
No,
Like
I mean,
they fried them up.
so I'm like, this is a lot of chicken, but it's fine. We got a lot of people. Like, I'd rather have more than, not enough. So, anyways, everybody comes through, and Jessica gives them 2 chicken fingers. And then, of course, she says, okay, y'all come back through, get what you want.
Mhm.
2 to 3 chicken fingers. So we're like feeding around 5 chicken fingers a person.
Mhm.
Because there were 12 boxes of chicken left after we fed everybody.
Mhm.
Like, we're talking families, we're talking kids,
Police
we're talking police
officers,
officers,
our
volunteers.
Like-
Like,
and this was after
Everybody.
people had come and made to-go boxes with a
Mhm.
few chicken fingers and macaroni. Like, I had boxes.
There was no
of
restricting
chicken.
anybody
No.
on protein.
There was everybody. There was chicken everywhere. Okay, but I'm telling y'all,
We had a whole flock.
that was they had to send more chicken than what I
I
ordered.
mean,
It was not.
There is no
Yeah.
way that was what I ordered. They had to send more chicken, and I didn't count it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
And so at the end of the night, there's all these boxes of chicken sitting around, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this chicken? So I grab a box, and I take it over to one of the families that I knew could possibly use it.
mhm.
And so I took it over there, and I said, could y'all use a whole box of chicken? I was like, you could freeze it. And that dad looks up at me, and he just starts crying. And I thought, I had to kind of walk away because I was getting teary-eyed. And I thought, when was the last time we were overwhelmed because of a meal?
Mhm.
Something that we take so for granted. Honestly, if we had ate that chicken, we probably would have had to start throwing stuff out. Like, we have no way of, we just don't think about it. And he was so overwhelmed
Mhm.
with a box of chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was so grateful. And it wasn't too much later that I found out that that night he was having to choose between buying food for his family and sleeping in a car or getting a hotel room. And they came and said, because y'all gave that chicken to them, they were able to get a hotel room and not have to sleep in their car. And I thought, the Lord knew I needed those boxes of chicken to give to those families. And every single table that we went to and gave boxes of chicken to looked at us with the most grateful hearts and grateful eyes and just hugged us. And I have no doubt that the Lord sent those extra chicken boxes
Oh,
so
yeah.
that we could pass them out. I have no doubt.
That little boy with the 5
I was
loaves,
about to
didn't he
say,
have
I
12
know.
baskets?
We are gathering up the
The
fragments.
Lord
There was
multiplied.
so much.
Mhm.
If it does anything, I think, for our church, it just opens our eyes, not only to the need, but to just have that thankful heart,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? And I think that so many in our church family do see that. And that's why they just abundantly flows out of them to
Mhm.
love people and to
bring.
give. And
Mhm.
we have a very charitable church.
Oh, yeah.
And always willing to give, whether that's time or money or
Mhm.
talents. Like, if there is a need, I have no doubt that the Lord will supply that. And 9 times out of 10, he does it through our church.
And I love that about our body of believers. Not just the building, not just the name, but the people, and our pastor, who is always looking for a door to minister to others with what God gives us to give out, to be that picture of pouring into other
Right.
people. And this is a ministry that the Lord has set up. He gets all the glory in this, but it's a ministry where older saints, younger saints, kids,
Mhm.
middle-aged, everybody can get involved because like a lot of the older saints
Yeah.
cooked desserts
Yeah.
and made homemade desserts. And man, you should have seen the faces when they got to go up and pile their plate with
Yeah.
desserts. And
They were so
we probably caused them many a tummy ache, but coffee bars and all the things, but
and I
everybody
love
gets to get
that.
involved.
I love that too. He has connected us with the three of them that
Mm.
believe just like we do as far as this is a
Mhm.
ministry. And like
Absolutely.
we want the Lord's love to be shown through that. And I
Yeah.
think one of the things that really even stood out to me in the interview is just their desire for the Lord to be seen through this
Mhm.
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
they've shared that in common with us because
Mhm.
I know, that's
Mm.
fortunate for us. I mean, that they have already had this set up, allowed us to come in and we shared that commonality.
Technical terms, we're just a support system, a
Right.
location, but we view it as a ministry to pour into these people. And we give tracts. Each family gets a Bible from the church, a card from the church, and to let somebody know, like, hey, no matter where you are, the Lord has a safe place for you if you ever need it. And that you never know what that will do.
Well, and I know when Chief come in and he went over there and he was like, "Are these the boxes you were talking about?" Because we had made these boxes and it had all the things. And I was like, "Yeah." And I started to open it and was showing him what was in it, and he just started crying. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Danae, you don't understand. These people never get nice." He was like, "They get what's left, or they get a hand me down, or they get what someone else that don't want." He said, "You'll never know what giving someone something nice means and treating them with that kind of respect, regardless of what background or what season of life they're
Yeah.
coming in. Like you just treated them with respect and you're giving them something nice."
Yeah.
And he just cried and he was like, "You'll never know what that means to people just giving, and I feel like too, as Christians, we're called to give our best
Yeah.
in all we do. And I think one of the reasons when we carry the title of a Christian, the Lord wants us to do everything we do to our best,
Best
to
of our
give our
ability, yeah.
best, because it is a reflection of Christ.
Mhm.
And
Well, and just to hear like their appreciation, like
yes,
when we gave the boxes out, I was standing with a lady. I'd been talking to her throughout the evening, and she was like, "Wow, like a Bible!" Like she
yeah,
was so excited, just to open and find something nice.
And how many of us take for granted
yes,
our
Having 7
Bible?
Bibles
like-
laying around.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I have a shelf with
Yeah.
multiples on there,
Yeah.
and it puts so much into perspective, and I don't know. It makes you fuller than you could even stand almost,
Yeah.
really. And I'll say this too, you think, well, this is a massive scale. This is a massive scale of a ministry or an operation, or, I got to thinking about how the Lord supplied the property for the
Right.
church.
I thought of that when we
Did
were
you think of
standing
that? Have
there.
you thought of that?
When we were standing watching it on
Mhm.
that property and all those cop cars parked on that property,
Yeah.
I took a picture like a wide, and I was like,
We
"We're
wouldn't have been able to
standing-"
fit them
No,
before that.
we're standing on land God gave us, doing
Mhm.
an operation the Lord laid in our laps.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, I 100% thought
So
of
he supplied that.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. And somebody else, I think it might have been Missy, somebody else mentioned that to me too. That, man, we wouldn't have been able to park them
No.
or do any of
Or
that
even
without.
feed 'em.
Yeah, or feed them. I know it.
Our fellowship
So-
would have been big enough.
But I thought about him supplying the need. And I thought, somebody maybe listening to this episode would be like, that's too massive for us to
Yeah.
do. But I just, in the last couple of months, a friend of ours asked us to come sing at a ladies' Christmas luncheon. And she showed me that their church, which is a smaller church, but a good sized
Right.
church and a loving church and a good church. And she said, we can't do much, but we've started doing this where each family in our church buys a bag or of groceries that will create a Thanksgiving meal. And they go out at some of the community in 6 Mile. They go out to some of the community things that happen with those holidays, and they pass out these flyers saying, hey, if you know a family in need, our church is going to be giving out bags of groceries,
Mhm.
and the church is going to supply the turkey. So the church supplies the turkey, and the families in the church buy this list of cranberry sauce,
Yeah.
dressing,
Yeah.
corn, all those things.
Yeah.
And she said they had a good number of families that they were able to serve through that ministry. And you say, well, we're too small. You are not too small.
Right.
No.
The Lord can open a door for you to do
Absolutely.
something. If you pray about it and you say, Lord, I want to do something
Yeah.
to make an impact. Give us a ministry, give us somewhere to serve or to be used. He can do it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter what you think your ability is. He knows what the need is. And that is, I thought about that after this event. I thought, man, there's so many people out there that probably think like we can't manage that, but the
No.
Lord will give you something that you can do that makes
Yeah.
just a great of impact in your community as something that is this operational with
Right.
Yeah.
so many moving parts.
Well, and it's all about that desire. Like, even I texted y'all after listening. I didn't get to be there, so I listened to the interview, and I was
Mhm.
like, even just listen, like, I get to be a part of these things, but
Mhm.
Right.
even that, like, just listening to it makes me want to do more.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
all about having that desire and saying, "Here I am, Lord, like, send
Yeah.
me,"
Yeah.
and Him giving you those opportunities and being able to be a part of things like that. It's
Yeah.
just
And we
special.
have a little opportunity for our tribe members
Yeah,
to get involved. A
Yep.
great way to
we're
start.
so excited.
So at the end of the episode, we're going to give you details on the best way
So excited.
that we can provide a way for you to get involved. And we're super excited. They helped set this up just for our testimony tribe people.
Yep.
So super excited. This is something that we're getting to we've never done this before, but we're super excited. So make sure at the very end you catch the details on what's to come for that.
Well, I guess that's a great segue to
Yeah.
get them already into this. This episode. Miss Regina is the founder of Fostering Love. Chief Beach is the chief of the police here in Pickens County. And then we have Officer Tickner, who is a part of the sheriff's department here in Pickens County. All of these people are key players in Shop with a Hero, how it was started, founded here in Pickens County, but then also Miss Danae here is a part of how Mount Sinai and all these people came to be the coalition that it is to have the opportunity to pull off what just happened. So let's get into the interview. And here we
Enjoy.
go.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm going to give y'all's names, but I don't know y'all personally. So we're going to take a minute to get to know a little bit about y'all. But we have Chief Beach, our chief of police here in Pickens County. And then we have Scotty T. And then we have Miss Regina Gay. And so we really appreciate y'all coming this morning and being open to sharing a little bit about what it is that we are doing here in Pickens County. So to get started, could each of you share just a brief testimony about your faith journey and what led you into the work that you do today? Share a
Faith
little bit
journey.
about your testimony about how you come to your faith and what led you to the work that you do today. Because I'm curious, you haven't always been in Pickens County. You
No,
were
I've been
in
all over the world.
exactly. So I want to hear how you landed in Pickens County.
So some people look at me oddly sometimes in terms of the faith journey, and I think this is more of a testimony to parents than it is to myself. And I think this would be something that most parents would strive for their children to say, I've never known a day apart from the Lord. To grow up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And a very good friend of mine, roommate in college, who's a pastor, wrote a book called Spiritual Birthline. And a lot of us that grew up in the 60s and 70s, there was I don't know what the right adjective is to say, look at this testimony, and I was this horrible person, an axe murderer, and there was this profound moment, lightning, and a lot of us felt like we had to almost make something up. And this is what my friend Steve did. And for me, it was like, well, I don't know. And my own mother said, oh, Randall was, you were 5. It was at Vacation Bible School. And I don't have a memory. I think there's a little picture. There was black and white photographs back in the 60s. And there's a little picture and it says, Jesus loves Randall. So I don't have any recollection, and that does not in any way undermine the efficacy of the work of the Holy Spirit. Certainly over, years of growing up, you wrestle with God, so to speak, and and really come to a much greater and deeper understanding. And that's really, my faith journey. My children have virtually the same testimony and very, very blessed. And I know, a lot of people, families have struggles and grow up in the church, yet there's, sort of prodigality, that where they go to adventures, so to speak, in some strange lands, and some come back and some don't. So that's my faith journey. And I graduated from high school in Japan. I was born in St. Louis when my dad was in seminary. I lived there in St. Louis for 6 months, so I don't recall much about St. Louis.
Okay.
6 months. I can't remember when I was 5, and then immediately, my dad was a pastor, and we lived all over the world. And some of my formative years as a little guy was in the Philippine Islands, and then we moved to Japan, and Japan feels like home to me.
Mostly.
And I went to college in Chattanooga. That was 1978, before most people at this table were born. Was anybody born?
I was born.
Born?
3.
Born? Born. Okay. So I'm in college, and then just
No.
a few short years later, I
He
began my
says
law enforcement journey in 1980, which is 45 years ago. That's a long time. Look what it does to you. And a proud graduate of the Chattanooga Police Academy. And I moved from Chattanooga to Augusta, Georgia, and I was a police officer there until 1990. And then I moved to Savannah, Georgia, and was there for 11 years, went back to Augusta, Georgia, and then was in Pensacola, Florida for 11 years, and all that. And then Twin City, down in Emmanuel County, Georgia. We share something. My law enforcement journey of 45 years, 28 of that was as a federal agent, but I've worked in state and, worked as a deputy sheriff, a police officer, and kind of a great, fun ride. And my partner will agree, this is the front row seat to the greatest show on earth.
That is correct.
In this job. That's kind of briefly my sort of faith and law enforcement journey. And there was, when I first moved to Augusta, I was, and I worked there. I was the sergeant over the narcotics division, and there was a young man. He was really only, I don't know, 5 or so years younger than me, but he felt kind of like a son. And he was born and raised in Pickens. And that's all he ever talked about. Pickens, and like, this is so hot. And I love Pickens. Pickens claimed to be a clogging champion. Just a little over 6 years ago, he was killed and left to die. He's buried at Pickens View, Wesleyan. People around here, I knew him as Frank. Around here, he was Frankie Dodson. And that was really my knowledge of Pickens. And I had a forced retirement. I was going to retire again, and this chief of police job came open in Pickens, South Carolina. And for no particular reason, I'm like Forrest Gump. I was like, for no particular reason, I applied, and they were stupid enough to hire me as the chief of police. And this has been to sit here at this table, to at this point in my law enforcement career, to have friends like this and so many others. And I love it here.
You have made quite an impact on our little county, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you have made, because you've been in Pickens for how long now?
5 years.
5 years, and you have made quite a difference in our little town. So we'll get to a little bit more of that. So, all right, Scott.
So I'm Scott Tickner. I'm a deputy sheriff with the Sheriff's Office of Pickens County. And my journey, I was born in New York, but my dad moved around a lot too. He was a pastor, and he's also a truck driver. And we ended up down here in Moonville, which is maybe about 20 miles from here. And that's where I grew up until my 4th grade year. And I was saved around, I think it was around 9 years old, maybe 10. It was in September. I remember we were having devotion in a floor at the house, and we were all quoting scripture and stuff. And then at the end, I asked my dad, I said, I think it's time for me. I was being nudged to be saved. And my journey there started there. And then from then on out, we ended up moving the next year to New York, and that's where I was supposed to graduate high school in the 90s. And right at the end of my 3 months or so, 4 months into the end of my year, we moved back to South Carolina too easily with a job. My dad was a trucker at the time, and moved us back down here. And I pretty much ran the roads as a 17-year-old kid and got into a lot of trouble with law enforcement, spinning tires, drag racing, things like that. And I was given an opportunity by a Christian man, Judge King, and he called me in. He had seen all my tickets on the table, and he said, "Yeah, he think you're better than this." And he asked me, he said he would help me out with my tickets and my points if I would just join his cadet program at the sheriff's office, and he was going to put me with two guys, and he put me with two Christian men, one Captain Galloway, he retired several years back, and Bill Lynn. And those boys, they put me in the car and they said, "You're going to have to stop acting like a kid. You're growing up." And they nurtured, they told me, they said, "Hey, Scott, you're better than this." And I rode with them 3 or 4 times a week, and I kind of was liking it. And I thought, this is pretty neat. And then the day that they jumped out of the car, left me in the car, and chased the man across the field and knocked him down, I said, that's what I want to do right there. And so I geared myself to dispatch and then detention. And then I went on the road in the city of Pickens in the early 90s. I think it was around 95, 96 as a road deputy. And I was there about a little over a year and a half. And then I transferred to Liberty to do some school resource officer and some type of community policing. It was big at the time. And then in 97 or so, the sheriff, one of the captains of the road patrol, come down and asked me if I wanted to come up and work a COPS grant, which was a community-oriented policing. And that was when my journey started with helping. And then I was introduced to Special Olympics, and I was introduced to March for Babies, and I was introduced to Relay for Life, cancer runs and walks. And I got my foot in those doors and started being the liaison for the sheriff's office to start setting up functions. And then all these other things came about. And then I was, the Shop with a Hero came about, and then everyone had these things, and they've asked me to come aboard. I've been a deputy sheriff in law enforcement for almost a little over 29 years. I'm assigned to the U.S. Marshal Service as their fugitive task force officer. And I do a few other little things, but I loved coming back to South Carolina. At first I didn't, because it was my senior year, and I was pulled from a school that I was going to graduate by myself, a little Christian school, and moved here to Easley. And like I said, that's where it all ended up, and that's where I'm sitting at today amongst friends here.
I didn't know that about you, about your teen years, but it makes sense now why you're so invested in young people.
Right.
And we get to see Scott firsthand all the time, touching the lives of young people around here. So that's probably one of the reasons you're so drawn to being with the young people, is because, someone changed your life as a young person.
They did.
And made an impact. It wasn't too late. All right, Miss Regina.
So I'm Regina Gay, and much like Chief Beach, I don't have some exceptional story. I grew up in a little bitty town in Kite, Georgia, and I went to a little country church there and was saved. I think I was baptized when I was 7. So it's really different when you grow up and you've always prayed and you've always done all these things, and there's not just this exceptional point where something bad happened and then things are better. But my work with fostering love, that began in 2014. Well, honestly, 2013. We had moved kind of all over the Southeast with my husband's job. And when we were living in Southwest Virginia, it was really the first time that I had seen actual poverty. We would see kids, they didn't have warm coats, they didn't have the food that they needed. They were coming to school dirty and not having warm clothes. And
Did you work in the school?
But I was just a mama
Gotcha.
whenever I was in Southwest Virginia, because my husband worked there, and I was volunteering at the school so much that I was just seeing all these kids, and it was just really pitiful. And when we were there, I asked my husband, I said, have you ever thought about fostering? And he said, no, I have not. And then he came back and he said, Regina, if you want to foster when our kids are older, because at that time we had a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. If you want to foster, I'm open to it. But right now we've got our little kids, and this is what we need to focus on, and we don't need to just invite all of that chaos into our house. So in 2013 we moved here, and of course we went to church, and out of nowhere, nothing was going on, nothing exceptional happened. But out of nowhere, I just felt this urge, this need to foster. So I took the kids to school, came back home, and just asked my husband, I was like, have you thought any more about fostering? Like, I had not mentioned it in probably 4 or 5 years. And he said, Regina, I was thinking about that just before you got here. He said, we need to figure out what we need to do, and we need to get licensed and see how we can help kids. Being the glass half full type girl I am, I really thought that like we were going to get licensed and we were going to get all these kids and we were going to love on them for 3 months and we were going to love them well enough that they were going to get to go home in 3 months and like everything was going to be perfect. And that is not what happened. We got licensed, and I think 5 days later, we got the call for our first placement. And it was a 13-month-old and her baby sister who was less than 24 hours old. And the next day we picked up the 13-month-old. And then the next day we picked up the then 2-day-old. And they just never were able to go home. So through them and through my work with Pickens DSS, we were working and like there were all these needs and there were just all these gaps in the system. And we're like, well, they need this, so why isn't there funding? So as the time ended with us being foster parents, I was like, I think I can help. So the first thing I did is I helped with Christmas. It was the end of 2017. And then we started doing the emergency overnight bags. Thankfully, since then, legislation has passed. I believe it passed in 2018, and it's the Families First Act. And that has given federal funding to fill a lot of those gaps. Okay. So the work that we did do, we're still doing a lot of the work with Pickens DSS, but there is funding through the state for a lot of the things that we did. But we still do their Christmas every year. We make sure all of the kids in foster care have sponsors. We make sure a lot of the kids in family preservation have sponsors. And then, like, I'm at Chief Beach, and now we do things for some of the kids through DSS and a lot of kids in the school district and out just in the community who need that support through Christmas.
That's amazing.
I got so
Yeah.
she mentioned where she was from, Kite, Georgia.
Yeah.
And I may be the only person within 500, well, it's not quite 500 miles down there.
280.
Like within 100 miles who's ever heard of or been to Kite, Georgia. And our linking up was really, it was just the funniest thing.
It was an accident almost.
Yes.
Tell us about it, because I want to hear, because that was one of the things.
My memory is more of just, I don't know, we're kind of like gonna out small town each other or whatever, and where you from. That's my recollection. And then, you've never heard of where I was chief before, and I was telling her all about what we did down in this place in Georgia, Shop at a Cop and all, and the big production.
I had seen it on Facebook. That's where I thought it would be a great idea for here.
And it's like, and I was, you got to see this. And I said, you've never heard of it. Oh, I'm from whatever. How do you even know where Twin City, Georgia is? And so many of the same
And when was
people.
this?
This was almost 4 years, 3 and 4,
4 years,
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
This will be your fourth year, fifth year?
We think so.
We think so. We don't know. But it was just sort of.
The Lord put it together, and it's been together since.
Really wild. And then there's people like Scott, because I have, we can do this. This would be great. And I get these great ideas. And we're a police department that's about this big, and we're going to try to do this. And you don't have the ability, you don't have the resources, and then you go, well, I'm an idiot, and I can't do this. And then we got great partnerships here because there are people that really care. We talked about, there's hardly a day in my life that the name Donna Mansell doesn't come up.
Yes.
And you want to talk about the hands and feet of Christ in this community is Donna Mansell.
It is Donna Mansell.
And she would shudder. She would be doing this right now, just knowing her name is mentioned. Just like,
I asked her permission.
Okay, good. But having those kind of resources, but it was just funny that I'm showing, like, this is what we did down in Georgia, and she knows all about it.
For our listeners, tell them what Shop with a Hero is.
A lot of people call it Shop with a Cop,
yes.
and that's kind of patented.
Yes.
And so this is a hero. We have more than just cops.
Correct.
We've got, Signer was just saying he's got DNR. They're cops.
Yes.
But we've had probation, parole, the fire, rescue, EMS. As part of it's the parade and the production and what we do. And it is that, like everything else, it's funding.
Right.
Because we could load up 100,
The
a
entire
100
like half the
kids
county.
and give them $10
Yeah.
and go. That's not, doesn't do much.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot of funding, and it'd be great if we had $1,000 per kid, or but
Yeah.
you've tried to have 200,
It's usually
250.
200.
And even that's a big
Yeah.
production. And but it's this, identifying, knowing your community
Yeah.
through the Tigners, through Regina, through the Donna Mansells and the churches and the schools, the needs, and we're gonna find like cops and first responders that love kids, and just like you were saying, that want to love on,
Yeah.
not to be necessarily loved back, but to invest. And we're gonna load them up, and we're gonna shut down the city and shut down Walmart, and we're gonna. I can't even think of myself to here's $200, just go
Yeah.
buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
And these kids, they range
Yeah.
from ages, what would you say? They start around
3 to 17.
3
is
to
usually-
17, and you bring the children in, you pair them with a local hero, you load them up in all the police vehicles, and y'all just show out all the way to Walmart.
Mhm.
And then they go on a shopping spree with their hero, and they get things that they need, things that they want. And it really, truly is just.
And
the
we've
most
learned a lot. The
amazing thing.
pairing, and sometimes can be amusing, because again, I thrive under adult female supervision.
He does.
When I'm left
Yeah.
to my own, like, oh, this will finally be fine. Like, guy's nuts because of that age. And I had a young officer, and he's with the sheriff's office now, doing great, Caleb Castle. And he's like, Chief, I got a little problem. And come on, rolling kids, it's fun. And he's like, I've got a 17-year-old girl who wants certain clothing items, and I'm a young man, I don't need to be. Okay, we'll swap that around.
I think he said, I'm not doing that. Isn't
I
that
think,
what-
I think that's what he said.
I was like, I'm putting my foot down.
Right. So this just keeps getting better, because when we started this, man, Tigner's all in. We didn't have what you're doing. So then now, because this is fun, it's wonderful, the spree, but they're going to go home sometimes and like, oh, I got a new bike, I got to do this, but there's no food.
Right.
There's no this. And Ingalls and Save a Lot, the
Yes.
food program that you're doing. I used to talk about that, what
Yeah.
happens here in this
Yes. I was gonna share a little bit. So Shop with a Hero, y'all come together and kind of spurred that vision of like, hey, we saw that in our hometown, let's bring it here. And y'all started that. Scott, tell us a little bit about how Mount Sinai got involved, and then what we do on this side of things for
So
the community.
Mount Sinai got involved with some other things like these disaster reliefs, and we were running up and down the coast down in Florida and Louisiana and places like that, and up to Kentucky when they had the tornadoes and things come through. And we had just come back maybe from another mission, and Danae had come to us, and she's like, I got a passion. I want to see how we can get more involved. We have our vacation Bible school, and we have those things, and we try to reach out to the community just like any other church. And she said, I want to do something different, something bigger. And we were standing there in the front of the church, and I said, I think I got an idea. I think I have something for us. And I remembered that Chief and I had talked, because like the phone calls that Chief and I make, we're always asking each other to help with something that is a passion to us, something that we have skin in the game, something that we have a why for. And I called and I said, hey, can we chat for a minute? And went up there and told him, hey, listen, I got a young lady at our church. I said, we've been doing this, this, and this, and we want to kind of get in. What do you think about the church getting involved with the Shop with a Hero, Shop with a Cop? And it just things started working out. We all met, started working it in. And then the church said, we'll get the food together. We'll get our people. And then our people jumped on board and said, I'd love to come in there and sit down with the parents and talk with them, and then put the boxes together and get everything loaded up and ready. And it's just from then on out, it's just worked, and it just keeps growing, and we keep learning stuff. Like every year we go, oh, we shouldn't do that. We should do this. We should do that. And this year we'll see what, we need to learn from. And then we will try to get it bigger and better each time. But the church stepped up and said, we're ready. The ladies stepped up. The men stepped up and said, we'll cook. We'll get things ready. They decorate and they get it ready for everyone to come. And then we'll load the cars up out front and take off.
Well, and then so he's leaving out when he comes up there talking to me and like, we've got this down. We think we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it was almost like if I was the tick mark. I'm like, okay, if I heard, well, there's like Danae, 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 and he's going on like, and I'm great. This is all I need is one more person
One more thing.
that I'm going to have to be kind to and nod and go, yes, you're well intentioned, but we've got this.
Yeah.
And I'm an idiot. And it's like, okay, who is this? And we're just getting better.
It
Yeah,
was
but this is-
exactly what we needed. Last year, by far, was just the most amazing experience, not just for us and not just for the excitement of the kids, but afterwards, I actually had parents coming to me and they were just so thankful for the kindness and, of course, the food and the opportunity for the kids. But they were just so thankful for the kindness and the way that they were treated and respected at your church. Overall, like when we started this, the main purpose is, of course, to have fun, to give kids gifts, to give them that experience. But a lot of times when kids come from hard places, the experience that they have with law enforcement is not always positive. Like most
Right.
kids think, "Oh, there's a cop, he's fun,
Right.
he's great, he wants to help me." But when you're in a house that's getting raided for drugs and it's the middle of the night and you're scared and your parents are getting taken away in cuffs, that is not the experience that these kids have with
No.
law enforcement. So another purpose of Shop with a Hero is, and we try to very intentionally pick kids. Like, of course, not every kid is going to have
Right.
had their house raided. Like
Right.
that's not what I'm saying. However, we very intentionally try to select a lot of kids who can really benefit from that positive experience with law enforcement and firefighters and kind of correct their
Right.
perception that they had before from such tough situations.
It's definitely a dual purpose.
Yes.
I'll never forget when I went in to meet with Chief Beach the first time. The thing that he said to me was, I think we can be a force multiplier.
Yes.
And that has just stuck with me. And I truly feel like the Lord really did orchestrate the whole
Yes.
thing and putting y'all together and bringing this into our county, but then allowing Mount Sinai to be a part of that. And it's just always such an honor. And Ingalls, I know they're not like here in the interview, but Ingalls and Save a Lot donate the food for us to put in these boxes to send home with these families.
Well, I guess so.
There's so
we
much.
sort of donate, but
Yeah.
there are hundreds of people in
Yes.
this community that get to the checkout line, and there's a little
Yes.
thing there. It's like, for $5 more, we will put this together.
Mhm.
There are people all this community who have no idea where that food goes. They're just
Yeah.
great
Yep.
people in a great community who are throwing in $5.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And the
this is
amount of
feeding-
bags that we pick up every week. And it's just the people in this county doing something that they feel like is so simple, buying a bag of groceries. But the impact that has on these families is, I know when we were trying to find a way to get involved in the community at that time, our vision was so little. And going in,
Mhm.
I truly looked at this situation that afternoon. I get emotional thinking about it. And I really looked at it and said, only God could have done it
Mhm.
better, because we thought we had it all figured out and we could maybe make up something on our, me and Scott's like, maybe we can do this. It was such a small scale. And then to look at the doors the Lord opened really is just like, only God could have made it better than it was. And that's just a testament to the willingness of the people and the doors that the Lord can open. Is there a moment for y'all that y'all look at and you're just, you look at it and you're like, this is just purpose? Like, is there a moment in that afternoon that you
Well,
just,
for me, it's because everything leading up to it is controlled chaos.
yes.
And are we going to lose a kid? Are we going to do this? Are we going to have enough money? What do we do? And it's just getting through and get in, and then everything. And then I find that I can get home. It's over. And just to sit down
Yeah.
for a few minutes, and because we're not really enjoying sitting back and
Right.
watching. We're so
Stressed.
watching the miracle worker with the cards and the checkout. And I don't know about y'all. It's when it's finally over, I can go home and just have a minute or two, like, It's not some great sense of accomplishment, because then it's like on to the next one. What's the next mission? And get ready. But it's just a couple minutes of quiet for
It's
me,
gratitude.
because it hasn't been a whole lot of
Reflection.
quiet in that day.
Oh, it's not
in that
quiet at
week.
all.
No. But that's for me.
For you.
That's when it kind of, I was a part of something. I don't know what y'all may
Scott,
look
what
at it
about
and say,
you?
this
What's
is
the
great.
moment for you?
Mine, so I've been involved in a lot of these things, and each of them have their own place. And I see myself sometimes doing it and then wonder, why do I have people come to me and say, why do you put yourself out so much different doing this, and this? Let somebody else do it. And I said, there's a purpose. The reason behind that is to try to win these kids over, try to win them to the Lord, try to win their families to the Lord. That's our main goal and purpose. But the one that hit me the most was, like you said, it's chaos. And then when we're done, we look back. And I had 250 runners in Clemson the other day that I'm responsible for. And I'm trying to put all this together. And then when I sat down and got home and then went to church, I sat there for a minute and then let it regurgitate and said, that wasn't that bad. Nobody got run over, all this kind of stuff. And the same with this one. I was in the store, and they had given me one of the children, and then they swapped it out for something else, which again, the Lord works these things. And I had a young boy, and we were in the store, and we were going everywhere but where we were supposed to go. And he was getting girl stuff. He was picking up, he was getting this, and he was getting girl socks and this like this. And I said, what do I got going on here? And the sheriff at the time, he had a girl, and he was going around, and she was going to all the boy stuff. We didn't realize they were brother and sister.
Oh.
And the one little girl had cancer. She was 9, if I'm not mistaken. And when we came together, I didn't say anything. I was picking up the stuff and, are you sure you want this? Are you sure you don't want this? And I was trying to sell him on this. And then he came back, and his eyes grew bright, and he said, look, sissy, I got you all of this with my money. And I lost it. I had to step away because I was like, you got to be kidding me. And he said, my sister's dying of cancer, and I wanted to buy her all her Christmas. And right then and there, I said, so the purpose, my why was there. And I said, so I'm at the right place. I'm at the right time, and things come together. And then Tommy at the time, he looked at me, and we just kind of went, I don't even know what to say. And from there on out, I said, we're doing the right thing. We're in the right place. Because sometimes you do things and you say, am I in the right spot? Am I in God's will? Am I supposed to be doing this? And then that kind of, solidified you were in the right spot. And when he did that, all his money was going to his sister. He didn't buy anything for himself. He bought her all this stuff, and she turned and bought him all this stuff, but they never colluded with each other.
Wow.
They just did it on their own. And so I was like, I'm here. It's the right thing. And I said, let's do it again. And I invite people from all over with sled in different places. Hey, come join us. What are we joining? I said, just come here and we'll show you the rest.
Yeah.
So
What about for you, Miss Regina?
I don't have a story like that because I'm always up there running
Oh,
around.
no.
Your logistics.
Yeah. Chief, do you remember a few years ago, this was before we started doing the thing here, do you remember that you were in charge of getting some lists? And we had given ourselves an age range and showed up that night. I think the age range at that point was 5 to 16. And Chief signed a 3-year-old up for Shop with the Hero. And I was like, Chief,
I go, oh, they're real mature.
yeah.
They've already got
A
their driver's
3-year-old.
license and
And
shaving. Yeah.
I think one of them actually had a pacifier, like a baby. And I was like, Chief, the little boy was terrified, like terrified. He wouldn't talk to law enforcement. He would not talk to me. He was like holding on to his daddy. So I was like, Chief, I don't think we can do this again. And so law enforcement took Dad because child was terrified. And I didn't see what the little boy bought. I didn't see any of that. But by the time he got back to the fire department, that baby was bouncing. Like he was bouncing all over everywhere. And he saw me and he's like, let's go get some pizza. So we got pizza. And later that night, I was like, Chief, we have got to find more 3-year-olds for next year.
Wow.
Like we have got to find these kids because they're so much fun. And I was speaking with one of your officers when we were at Walmart last week. And I always tell people when we're talking about Shop with a Hero that I do all kinds of things, but to me, Shop with a Hero it's just the best thing we do. It's the most fun thing we do. It's the best night of the year is what I always say. And one of your officers, she always takes off work at her other job so she can do this. And she said, as an adult, I never you're never able to rekindle that joy that you have at Christmas as a child. Like you're never able to experience like the love that you have and the excitement and your family's together and your parents are still there. And as you get older, you become parents, a lot of that falls away. But for a moment, in one day in December, somehow we actually get to rekindle that joy watching those kids have it's like the joy of Christmas morning that you experienced as a
That
child.
is such a good way to
Yeah,
explain it.
and she
Such a
said
good
it to me, and I was like, I've felt this for years, and like that is exactly it. We're giving gifts, but like the gift of that joy that we experienced as children, like you can't tap into it as an
Right.
adult, and yet here we are. And I guess even selfishly, like
Yeah.
we give things, but like we get so much
Yes.
more from it than
Right.
we could than you can even express.
Now, one thing that does happen, I'm sure his phone rings too, like especially the first year, my phone's blowing up. And it's like,
Yes.
what's going on in Pickens? I heard the Walmart's on fire. I heard there's been a bombing.
Bomb threat.
There's
Yeah.
bomb threat. What's going on?
Pray
Everybody
for
wants-
Pickens.
It is.
something big is going on, and that's kind of funny
It is.
that because we don't really. But I'll tell you what else is cool. Where you're in there, and there's people they don't have a clue. They came to Walmart. What in the world is going on? And then somebody and then they pull out their wallet and they go,
Yeah.
I want to be part
That's
of it.
amazing.
Yep.
That's
And we're always, I don't want to handle cash
Yeah.
and do it that way, but it works out. But people, hadn't that happened every time?
It does.
Every time somebody wants to join in,
yeah.
they want to be part of that
Contribute.
fund, even just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it spreads very quickly
It's contagious.
into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think for me, like a highlight of that night for me is our kids aren't used to that life.
Yeah.
And for us, our kids, because we have a large group of kids here that are around the same age as the kids that get to go shopping, they are so excited for those kids. And they like make parades. And when they're coming back, our kids are learning Christmas songs for them and they're making the cookies for them. And like for me to be able to teach my children at an early age to get involved in the community, like that's so important to me. And for me, that's a highlight, seeing our kids so excited for them. And then sitting with those parents when those children are shopping, our people are here just walking around talking to all the parents. And man, they are just so receptive and excited to be a part. And we loved just loving on them. And that was such a moment for us back here. Like I know y'all had chaos here. Here we're just eating and just lackadaisically walking around
the
talking to
butterfly
people.
room.
Yes, we're just
And
like
we're at the
chill.
caterpillar room.
And then the kids come back and it's like everything's
Yep.
crazy again. What about you, Caitlin? I know you haven't got.
No, I'm enjoying soaking it in.
Yeah.
I from a church member's perspective, because I wasn't involved like Danae wasn't in the organizing and working with you guys one-on-one. But just from a church member perspective, thank you so much
Yes.
for letting us be involved.
Yeah.
Because we do missions, like Scott said, we try to get involved in other ways. But to be in our community and to actually be here and to see the excitement that you guys have worked so hard to put together for these kids, but also to see the benefit to the community and pouring into these lives and changing those perspectives that they have of our law enforcement and our emergency services departments, like that is huge. And just to be able to put a hand in that and give back to this community and give to those people, to love on them, to be a part, y'all have allowed us to do that. And I know I don't just speak for myself. It's we have gotten so excited. I think Danae has been hounded. Like, when is it?
Yeah.
Are we doing this
I
again?
kept it kind of because I
Yeah.
didn't have numbers. I haven't put a whole lot of I need this or this yet. And the amount of church members that come up to me every service. So, like, do I get to do this again this year? I had ladies come up to me yesterday. They're like, now, am I going to get to make desserts again? Like, they're so excited to be a part of it.
And then
so.
to love on the parents, to have the kids and them come in and be like, can we get more dessert? Like,
Yeah.
Get all that you want.
Take what
Like,
you want. Take
even-
it all.
I think it made an impact on us of
Yeah.
like, man, we really can help in our own community. Like Scott said, we've traveled Kentucky and Florida and all these places, but we can help right here in our backyard.
Yep.
And that gives us the opportunity. So I just want to say thank y'all for
Yes.
that. It was amazing.
One of the things that I didn't realize, like it's always been fun. It's always been fun. It's always been chaos. It's always been heartwarming. But one of the things that families who are having a hard time in the community, they lack connection. So like some families are growing up and they grow up and they're dealing with DSS and when you grow up in a church, you grow up with connection, you grow up with that village. But a lot of the people in this county, and I would say probably all over South Carolina, people that have hard times, they don't have that village. They don't have those connections. So for us to watch you, and I know that we talked about it before, like for us to see you treat people from different walks of life with respect and love, and for your kids to love on them and sing them songs and feed them meals, we really hope that it's giving the families an outlet and a connection, so the next time they're in crisis, they can reach out to you, or they can
100%.
reach out to your pastor, or they can reach out to you, or they can reach out to Chief. Hopefully they will no longer be on the island by themselves.
Yeah.
And instead of having nowhere to turn and chaos happening and law enforcement being involved and DSS getting involved, our hope is that they can reach out to you or any of you.
Yeah.
And because every time DSS is getting involved with a family, it's trauma for
It's
the
already-
kids.
yeah.
Like it is absolute trauma. And to build those bridges, there's no way that it couldn't benefit the children and the families long term if they are able and willing to reach out and ask for the help. And it's not always monetary help. Sometimes
Right.
it's emotional help. Sometimes they may need somebody to babysit for a few days or a day. And hopefully we are y'all through you. We're building those connections.
Well, I think
with
just like you were
families.
saying, a better experience with law enforcement officers. A lot of ways, these people have withdrawn and they're on an island, and it might not be this church, but they know that the church could be the one they drive by and say, okay, as a representative of all of Christendom, and each particular church is it. I think that's just like we represent one bad experience with a cop, have some good experiences
Yes.
with,
Right.
and so the
Yes.
same thing, man. I had a great experience with
Church.
God's people in a
Yes.
larger sense, and they come off that island.
Yeah. That's what we pray. If someone's listening today and they really want to get involved in one way in the community, maybe could you share some different ways, maybe through the police department and through Fostering Love, of different ways someone could reach out and be a blessing, whether that's time or money, or what are some needs that you see that we could reach out and help support y'all in each of
Financial,
your
bring
areas?
bags of money to her.
Yes,
Not to me.
that would be
Bring
bags of money.
And that's the reality.
Right.
It's funding. There's
Yep.
great
Funding.
well-intentioned
Good ideas.
and I know this man, and he goes into his wallet, and I will too, and we all do. And so it's not as if, I mean, we're financially invested, but I think that is the reality.
Yeah.
And to be involved in your particular church, but I mean, financial.
Yeah.
What's the
Financial, and I
best way
think
if someone wanted to give? What is the best way for them to donate?
To donate. So I'm going to back up a little
Okay.
bit because Shop with a Hero is a great program. It's
It's once a year.
Yes,
There's
it's
year
one
long.
day a year. Like it
Yeah.
takes a lot of planning, but it's
Yes.
one day a year, and it's probably the most well-known thing that we do at
Right.
Fostering Love. It's the most fun, but it's certainly not the most important.
And it's the
we do.
tip. It's just the tip of an
Yes, it's just
iceberg.
the tip of an iceberg. So you mentioned Miss Donna Mansell. Yes, she works for the school district, and she is what they call a family liaison. And when I'm telling you, this woman knows the families and those kids, like she is going in homes, she is talking with families, she is taking them food. She is finding resources for clothes. Like she is working hand in hand with these parents and building these relationships with them so they trust her, and they always need stuff. And although we do a lot of work with DSS for children in foster care, that's not really what we do. So a lot of people, and I know you had asked about the case numbers and stuff in Pickens County. So currently, and I'll back up a little bit too, when my girls were in foster care, the first year that I did Christmas for them, at that point, it was the end of 2007. I don't know how many children were in care, but I know that there were 191 lists of children who were sponsored that year. Maybe it was 2018. Everything runs together.
Right.
But I remember it being 191, 192 kids. And that was just foster care at that point. I spoke with one of the supervisors yesterday, and The good news is current numbers are down.
Good.
Back in those days, there was usually 150 to 200 kids in foster care, and about that many more who were living with what they call family preservation. They're living with family, friends, or the parents are getting resources. But DSS is very, very deeply still involved with these families. But they're not actually in foster care in the custody of the state. They're living with family members. In those days, total case numbers were somewhere between 350 and 400, just depending on what was going on. Yesterday, when I spoke with them, case numbers are down. They're down to total case numbers are 155 kids, and only 38 of those are in foster care. So, and it's not, there was a change in the way that DSS did things. I talked about families first. South Carolina used to be what we call a reactive state, where something bad happens, they go in, they take custody of the kids, and then they work with the families. Well, now they are what they call a proactive state. So they go in, chaos is happening. They look at these families because, again, trauma happens every time you separate a child from their family. It never goes away. It stays with them. So what they're doing now is they're going in, they're looking at a situation. And of course, if it is dangerous, those kids are removed through the court systems or through emergency protective orders. But a lot of times they're not in imminent danger. So they're going in and they're looking at these families and they're saying, okay, what kind of services can we put in to support these families to correct these issues? Well, what kind of family members can we get? Let's get a list of family members. Let's see who these kids have that can support them. And even though they can't live with mom and dad, they can go to an aunt and uncle, or in Pickens, it's so many grandmas. So many grandparents are taking care of their kids. So they're putting resources in instead of reacting and removing the kids, which is beneficial to everyone involved at the end of the day. So a lot of what we do is we're giving resources to families and family preservation. As we did that for a while, I somehow got in contact with Miss Donna, and we met each other, and that relationship has been built. And we are trying, so if there's a situation, there's a lot of poverty in Pickens County. If there's a situation where mom and dad are working, mom and dad have more month than money. And when you have more month than money, things lapse. Clothes may not get washed. We might not have money for detergent. We may have a bug infestation. Our kids may have lice. We may need some winter clothes. We may need some food. And those are just a few of the things that we do, a few of the things that we're able to provide. But we're only able to do that because we are trying to get them to reach out to us before a report is made. Again, they're mandated reporters. If a report needs to be made, it will be made. But if we can put resources in, whether it's food, whether it's lice shampoo, whether it's bug spray, whether it's warm coats, there's all these different things that we can do. And honestly, you can spend $100 and make a really big difference for a family, a really big difference, because they don't need $2,000 to make things right. They just need a little bit to bridge that gap, to get things better, to make more money, and to get those kids. And when DSS gets involved, it's appropriate, it's needed, but there's no need for that if we can give resources on the front end
So
of it.
your ministry has almost shifted to try to help before it gets to that place.
Yes. And it was organic. It wasn't what we planned on doing. It wasn't anything that I never know what I'm going to be doing the next day. As there is a need, we just roll with it. Yeah. And it has just morphed into more than, it's so much better than I could have ever planned myself. Yeah. But they can, of course, donate. On our website, it's fosteringlovesc.org.
Okay.
And there's a donate button that they can go and donate online. They can drop checks off with Chief Beach or with Shannon Ellenberg at the Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
They can mail us a check. If they want to do food drives, they can do food drives, and I can get them in contact with some of the family liaisons, because every school has them. Another thing that I haven't mentioned is one of the things, like I mentioned, that DSS has so much more funding for things that we used to do. They still can't purchase fast food gift cards. So when kids are being transported, or if kids are up at the office because they have a they're having trouble with placement. They need to eat. So we provide gift cards. So all they have to do is grab a kid, grab a card, grab a card, get them food, and like they're back on their way. And that is something that it's always
Always
needed.
in need of.
I spoke with the foster care supervisor yesterday, and I was like, "Is there anything you need? Like anything in particular?
Right.
Because we can do some things." So they needed some duffel bags. I purchased those yesterday, and they need fuzzy blankets. I know it sounds so silly, but
Yeah.
when you have kids that are coming into care, and whether they're going with a family member or they're actually going into foster care, they take a bath. They're worn out. They've been in absolute chaos. Usually by the time wouldn't you it probably takes about 10 or 12 hours by the time it's all said and done. So, like, we might we have new pillows up there sometimes. They like the fuzzy blankets that
Yes.
are fuzzy and warm that they can just wrap themselves up in. It's just little things that we would do to comfort our kids. Like, when they're
Right.
not feeling well, those are the type of things that we put up at DSS to make sure they have what they need. And you can gift cards. We have Walmart gift cards that we keep up there for the things that they can't buy. There's things and the weirdest stuff happens. So there are things that they need that they just can't purchase,
Right.
or maybe somebody's gone, but they do have access to the gift cards. But those are just a few things that we
Yeah.
do. And if you have any questions or if anyone wants to do anything, we also have a contact us place on our website that if so all of this is so crazy. Yours came from a grand idea or a feeling.
Yeah.
And your everything that we've done, you have grand ideas and everything just kind of, I dare say it falls into place. If someone has a grand idea and they want to do something, I would love to hear it and put them in contact with the appropriate people, whether it's for DSS, whether it's for family preservation, whether it's for foster care, whether it's with the school district. Like, there are so many needs in the community, and our community, the families, the parents, the children, they just need help.
Well, I appreciate all of you coming and sharing the awareness and giving us a way to try our best to make a difference. Y'all are doing good work in the
You're doing
community.
good
We
work.
appreciate y'all. And I say we just keep it up. So,
One thing I wondered
Yeah.
about, I know that I'm a boy, so I don't think things through sometimes. And I know, and I can see it in my mind's eye, these boxes of food over, and I know that you and others took a moment to handwrite a personal, not a typed and printed out, but in your own handwriting, some note of encouragement that went all the time, and we'll never know. And there's something about getting that. We'll know someday, but we won't know. And I'm sure that you will do that again. But I wonder about things like that when it's all done and I sit down in the dark in my chair and finally have a moment. I wonder about things like that.
Well, so much of what we do, and we've spent a lot of money over the years on a whole lot of things, and you wonder, like, are you making a difference? And it's so hard when you're doing things for 100 kids, and
Right.
then the next week you get a call and you're back at somebody's house because things haven't changed. And when you look at things on a large scale, it's hard to see success when you still see so many things happening that aren't positive. But when you think about the children that we're helping, and this is something I've really had to focus on, it's hard for me to believe that the kindness that all of us, like through the years, the resources we've given, if it makes a difference for 5 or 10 children, if it makes a difference for one child, if it makes a difference for 2 families, like, their people, their souls, it makes a difference.
Yes.
It may not make a difference to everyone that we've helped, but if it makes a difference to one person, it's a big difference for them.
We're days out from the chaos.
And I'll insert that one thing you said, where to go and where to ask. Each law enforcement agency now has started to get a public person that's in charge of functions. At the sheriff's office, it's Shannon, and Easley, it's Ashley. At the city of Pickens, I believe it's
Chris Griffin.
Chris Griffin. And each place, even some of the churches have, if you call and say, hey, I want to do something, what can I do? If you'll call up there and ask for myself or Shannon, or call these places and say, do you have something? What can I do? We got Country Santa coming up. We always have something coming up. And we can always say, well, if you want to be part of something, if you want to go load toys, or if you want to go load food at the food bank, stuff like that, we can get you with those things, because the supervision of the offices now are putting a person, because we see the importance of it. Because before, you could call the sheriff's office 15 years ago, say, hey, what do I do? Nobody knows. Nobody has any clue. They'll point you to somebody else. But now there's a person that's in charge of that, who says, okay, what do you need? This is what we're going to do. And they have the resources to reach out or point you in the right direction. So
I'm bouncing off of that, Scott, just for listeners, say, we in church I grew up, we always gave to missions and we did those things, but we didn't actually get a chance, of course, visitations and things like that. We didn't actually get a chance to get our hands and feet in a ministry and actually be what we're called to be, which is the hands and feet of Christ. And so in this, and like what you said, if you're a church member or a community member and you're looking for ways to help, do it. If you find an avenue, a door that opens that you can lend a hand to someone or be unload boxes, just a simple thing like that, it changes your whole perspective of what it is like to be a active Christian. And so, or an active community member. If you find a door, I just challenge you, do it, because it's bigger than we could even sit and describe. I mean, it's like that Christmas morning feeling.
Yeah.
Do it, because you won't ever regret it. There's a reason and a purpose that door is open to you. Walk through it, see what's there on the other side, and let it change you and open your eyes to what can be done in the community. So that's awesome that they have those connections, and reach out to them. The littlest things, it can make the most.
I'm already thinking of how I can do like a fuzzy blanket drive.
I'm
sitting here like, all right, we're going to be having a fuzzy blanket drive.
There's a church, it's Project Linus. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but Linus, he always has blanket with Charlie Brown, and there's people all over the country, and it's really involved in particular churches that are, and I've got literature at the house, so there are groups that are, singularly focused on just that. Some are, it's coats, it's gloves, but Project Linus is a pretty cool thing.
I think too, just being loud about the need, like I need blankets, because I think we do have a need here in Pickens County, but we also have a lot of people that are such givers in our community, and just putting those needs out there. But I will be throwing a fuzzy blanket. Maybe the tribe is going to be hosting a fuzzy blanket drive. So get ready. We're going to find out where we need to get some fuzzy blankets, and we'll make that a thing for sure. So
yeah, the blanket thing, we have a lady at our sheriff's office who took it upon herself to do blankets for the nursing homes, and she does a blanket drive every year, collects stacks and stacks of them, and then one day her and several records clerks and other people drive out and hand them personally to someone in their and I got an opportunity last year to do that. And some people were like, I don't want that. And then you just say, I will set it on the end of the bed. Then you go back by and they're opening it up and putting it on their bed. It's Miss Patty and Miss Amanda. Yeah. And they get those things going, and they do it every year, and it gets bigger and bigger. She said first it was one nursing home. Now it's more.
Wow.
So it happens. And then so a lot of people don't know the need. So when you call, they can say, oh, I'm glad you called because I do have a need. Because some people have something to give, but don't know where to give it. And like you said, you make it loud and people can hear the need and say, I want to be something part of that. So.
Yeah. Well, like y'all, I don't remember who said it, but Kate, just echoing, we are here to be a blessing. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like we walk away more blessed than the people that we're trying to bless. So y'all have all been a blessing. So we thank y'all so much for taking your time to share today with us and our audience. And hopefully we can continue to make a little difference in Pickens County.
Awesome. We can't wait to see the community wonder
what's going on. Yeah.
It's some great rumor.
Yep. They will. They'll start one. It won't be long.
We will share a video.
Blew up. Like there's videos like, what is happening on all the local pages?
Yep.
It was great.
And by the time this airs, it'll be over. So we'll actually be able to, after the interview is over, we'll probably put a clip or two, if that's okay. I know we usually have some drone footage and stuff, and that's always fun.
And even though we're going to be doing this in a few weeks, we raise money throughout the year. And if people are interested in donating for next year, they can just specify how they want the money spent. So if we'll start fundraising in January. I start Christmas for DSS in July every year, and we usually finish up by mid-December. So, and then we start up again in January raising money.
Well, thank y'all so much. And we'll share those links on our YouTube, on our social media accounts. And that way, if anybody hear this, you You can give, you can get involved. Even if you're not in this county, you can still come
That's
and
right.
be a part. So
And even if it's not something specifically that we do, we're all connected enough with
Yeah.
different nonprofits, different agencies,
Yeah.
different, like the school district. We can get people where they need to go and get them in contact with the people that they need to do to help children directly in Pickens County.
Well, thank y'all so
That's
much. We mean
awesome.
that from the
Thank
bottom of our
you.
hearts.
So I want to know, what is your favorite part of this event? Or maybe like one, I know we've already mentioned some moments, but maybe like one single moment that stands out in your mind.
that's hard. I love the send off
Yeah.
and the return. I love it all. But there's just something like usually I stand there and just kind of tear up and cry
Yeah,
about
me
it.
too.
Yeah.
I just stand out there and cry. That's my favorite part.
Watching you watch the send off last year when
Yes.
we did it for the first time was like so special. Yeah.
Like the non, like your face hurts
Yeah.
and smiling.
The whole
Like,
thing is fun. Like you get to be with your church family, you get to be with your family because your kids and your spouses and all over there,
Yeah.
and then you get to like, I love getting to meet people, and so for me that's a special part because like you get to meet all these people and talk to them, and the police, the officers, and the firemen and all that. I just like, I like it all.
there was I love the send off. And like we were talking about this year, it hit me when we were standing on the land that God gave us the land and then he gave us the building and
Yeah.
then he gave us the opportunity. But there was this moment, I told you about that family that got the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ran over there and got a box of bread and a big box of macaroni. And I was like, where did they go? And there was a lady there. She's mentioned Miss Donna in the interview. And she's like, I'll show you which one's their car. So we're walking out and I take some more food to this family. And Miss Donna just raises her hands and starts praying. I mean, just Holy Ghost, God, I'm just calling on you right now to just bring these people to you and just put a holy touch on this relationship right here that you've started. And I mean, just touched heaven right there in the parking lot. And I think for me, that was probably the moment this year.
Yeah.
Like that was so Holy Ghost filled. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just powerful.
Yeah.
So that was a moment.
So what was your favorite part, Mac? What stands out to you, and anything memorable?
Okay, well, this event is special to me in a lot of ways, but one of the ways it's really special is because, y'all know this, but listeners may not know that my husband, Colton, he is in law enforcement. And so he, obviously is a member of our church, but he gets to come on as a hero as well. And so it's really fun to like go home after it's all said and done.
He gets that kid experience that we don't get to have.
Yeah, so we kind of get to like swap stories throughout the night. So I get to tell him, about things that we've, talked about with families or things we've gotten to do while they were away. And I'm like, the first question I always ask him, like, what did y'all get? Like, what did you buy?
Yeah.
And the past 2 years, he's actually been paired with a little girl. And so it's kind of funny just to know, like, what did you shop for?
Barbie.
Yeah, all the things. And so we get to swap stories, which is really special. But then also just to hear, like, he gets to talk to a lot of the law enforcement officers and a lot of the heroes, and just to hear stories of, like, their perspective of how the night went. And again, just the opportunity that we have as a church to bless them and to bless our community.
Did he have any feedback from officers or anything?
Yeah, so he said he walked back, into the courthouse the next day, and there was an officer there who was one of the heroes that, shopped. And they were like, man, like, I saw that you were talking to a bunch of the people, like, at that church. Like, do you go there? And Colton was like, yeah, I do, man. Like, that's my church. And he's like, well, y'all do a really great job. And so just to, have that feedback, but also just to know that it's not just a ministry to the families, but to, to the heroes as well.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Super fun.
Some of them, okay, Danae. So we gave them a little teaser in the beginning.
Yes.
Fill them in on what's happening at the Testimony Tribe.
So you kind of got a little bit of when Regina was talking and she was expressing a need, and me and Caitlin's like,
I literally, radars.
We're like going off over here.
Yeah.
So we have actually set up I guess, what did they call it? A
registration.
A register.
A
register. And the Testimony Tribe is going to do a cozy care campaign. And what you will find on this registry, you're going to find that the children that come in and they're maybe pulled out of a bad situation, the first thing that she said they gravitate to are these fuzzy blankets. And with this cold season on us, there is also a need for socks and sweatpants and sweatshirts and clean undies. And a lot of times it's so cold, they cannot take the children out to go get those things
Right.
because it's already so cold. So we are doing a drive and wanting to help these workers be able to provide children with these things. So we're so excited to be able to throw out this campaign
And thank you to Regina and Foster and
Yes.
Love for helping us with
Set that up.
setting it up
Yeah.
because, she was so open when we said, hey, we want to do something. So let's figure out what we can do to do that.
Yeah.
What's the best way for that to work and all these things. She was very helpful in
Yes.
all of that. Share the link. We're going to drop it with this episode. Share it, share the episode and the link so that we can get people on board and we can do something for these babies this holiday season.
Thank y'all for all of your love and your support. And we ask that y'all pray for us as we just try to pray about who to have on these episodes and ways that we can be a blessing in our community. And we will be praying for our listeners that they are a blessing in theirs. Until next time, friends.
See ya.